many of you want to be a bodybuilder? Wait. Wrong question. Nobody wants me to ask you that. How many of you want to be engineers or doctors? Raise your hand. Engineers, doctors, or even lawyer. There you go. That's almost 40% of the people that are sitting here. And you know what? I was among those students. But out of the students who actually raised their hands, I want to ask how many of you are actually passionate about it? Like you want to build something for the world and you don't care the money, you don't care about the money. You just want to build something for the world and you just love doing it and you have a solid grasp of what engineering or doctor or lawyer is. Can you raise your hands? Very few. That's like 5%. So out of the 40%, only 5% are actually passionate about it. So that 35% is what I was. When I was in school, I was told to, if you're smart, I was told that if you're smart, you either become an engineer or you become a doctor or you become a lawyer, right? So my mom's actually right in the crowd too. So she told me that because you're smart, I want you to become an engineer. And you know what? I was like, you know what? Everybody else is doing it, so I will do it too. And that's how I did my schooling, my 9th grade, my 10th grade. I started taking my coaching. So a lot of you who are in 10th grade or 11th, you know, you have to take coaching for IITs and engineering exams and medical exams and all that. So I did that, but that was the time I actually realized that why should I go to a college in India when I can go abroad and go to Canada or US. And the reason for that was because I really didn't like the education system here. The work-life balance, well, the education and life balance wasn't here. So that's the first decision I took. And my mom, my dad, they weren't with me. They didn't want me to do that, but I still did it. That's disruption number one. And when I went there, I was always into sports. I was a state level cricket player for Haryana. And when I went there, I couldn't play any sports. So when you're told to study a lot and you don't have any outlet, what do you do? Well, there I realized what people did was go to the gym. So I had a schedule that I couldn't do anything until 8 p.m. because I had classes, then I had lab, and I can't really play any sport. And that's going to happen to a lot of you too, because when you're in university and especially colleges like medical and engineering, you won't have time to play. So I used to have 1 to 2 hours per day to do whatever I want, and during that time, most of my friends were 18 and above. I was 17 when I went to Canada. So that means I can't go to a club, I can't go party, I can't do any of the things that most of my friends were doing. So what did I do? I spent all those hours in the gym. That was my first year of engineering, and when I started doing that, I was like, okay, this is pretty fun. This is similar to sports, but I have no knowledge. I don't know how to do it. I don't know any friends there. I was pretty isolated, so I started researching. I started reading. And when I did that, I realized that, you know what, I can do really well in this. So I started seeing progress, and I kept doing it more and more. And then eventually what happened is that students started seeing my progress, so started asking me tips. And they're like, how did you do it? My friends from India who went to school with me, they started asking for tips. So that's when I realized that I have this thing that I can help people too, with what I'm learning. And eventually, as I started doing my engineering, I got internships, and I was doing 3 part-time jobs at the time, just because I depended most of my education on scholarships. So I know a lot of you all may want to go, study in US or UK or Australia, as it's the norm now. I see 50 to 60% of students trying or wanting to go. I get messages every single day on my Instagram that, sir, I want to go to Canada and I want to pursue engineering, but I don't have the money for it. So that's how I was too. So I actually went there on scholarships. I did a lot of part-time jobs, and doing all of that, I still made sure that I was going to the gym. And because I knew that all that hard work will yield dividends sometime in life. And that passion was my driving force in not just bodybuilding, but also engineering. So when I graduated, I had a job actually 6 months before I graduated. So that was the time that I decided, okay, you know what? I see a lot of my friends there that were competing at the time. They weren't like me. They were like big bodybuilders. And so I was like, you know what? At that time, a new class came, that's men's physique. I'm not sure how many of you know that, but it's basically like surfer look, the model look. So I thought, why not? Why not do that? Because I always wanted to do modeling. So when I graduated, I had the money, I had the time, and I already had a good physique. So what I started doing was, you know what, I'm going to prepare for a show. So that's the time I decided to do a show. Now guess what? My parents, typical Indian middle-class parents, They did not want me to do that. Why? Because they're like, bodybuilder ban ke kya karoge? You know, like it's bodybuilders look so bad. You know, there are so many taboos attached to bodybuilders. So they're like, no, just do it engineering. Just, you know, you have a good job, you have good money, you know, just focus on that. But I didn't enjoy that. And you know what, when you are going to work every single day at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m., you realize that, you know what, this is not what I want to do in life. It's eventually, within 4 months, I was bored of it. I knew this is not for me. So either I could do an MBA now, or I could make my own way, which at the time I only had bodybuilding. So I started competing. I won my first show. People take decades to win their first show. So I won my first show. Then I was like, okay, this is not bad. I can do it. This is pretty good. So then I did my second show. I won that one as well. I was like, okay, I think I may have something here that's special. Then I did my third show next year. I won that one as well. So I kept winning when people couldn't even win a single show. Like my friends couldn't win any shows, and I was winning show after show after show. Eventually, I thought, you know what, I'm going to become a pro. Now, a lot of you may not know what an IFBB pro is. It's basically you become an international professional athlete in terms of like you get sponsorships, you get paid to compete, and it's basically that you're a full-time athlete in bodybuilding. So I made that my goal, and 2 years later, actually 1 year later, I was an IFBB pro. And that was a turning point in my life because I was also working. I was sleeping 3 to 4 hours a night. I had presentations in the morning at work, and I was also going to the gym 2 times a day, 2 hours in the morning, 4 a.m. to 6 a.m., and then 2 hours in the evening from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. So every day I was sleeping 4 hours, 5 hours, and I was doing all of that because I knew that the work that I'm putting in right now is going to mold my future. You gotta be different. You can't do what everybody else is doing. And that's what I call disruption. And I've always done that. And at that time, I was like, okay, you know what? Now I can quit my job. I don't enjoy it. I don't see myself doing it. Engineering is not what I'm passionate about, and it doesn't drive me. So you gotta ask yourself what drives you. And at that time, I asked myself, and it was bodybuilding. Now, bodybuilding doesn't pay bills. You know what? Passion doesn't pay bills. For a really, really, really long time. It took me 8 years of that to make it my profession. And I have made no money, and bodybuilding is very expensive. It actually is, it's all sunk costs. It's diet, going to the gym, you know, buying clothes, and it's very expensive. Even the supplements, very expensive. A lot of you all may already know that. And so after 8 years, I started coaching people. When I quit my job, I didn't know what I'm going to do. All I knew was that I can maybe coach 2 people, 3 people, and my co-workers basically. They just wanted to lose fat or build muscle, so I started helping those. And slowly, because I was getting results and I was so confident and I was so good at not just coaching them, but also motivating them, that I started making money. My first month, I made $4,000. Second month, 5, 6, 7. And that way, I actually made more money in 3 months than I was making as an engineer. Now, because I was doing what I was really passionate about and was driven for, eventually it paid the dividends that I've been putting all those years, the hard work, the 3-4 hours sleep, those 3 part-time jobs during university, all of that started paying off dividends now. I just landed a sponsorship as well. So like just last month, I was sponsored. So now I have sponsors who pay me to do this. I have probably 30 clients, and I'm building a team of coaches in India and in Canada who are going to coach other people. And I also plan on making a website that's going to coach most of the middle-class athletes, like, you know, people from really poor background who can't afford coaches. I'm going to make a website that, you know, that makes accessible to them so they can learn something new. And because it's a very competitive field now, you see it in the newspapers, you see a lot of shows happening in India, all across the world. So I want it to be, I want everybody to be able to afford it. And that's my goal, because now that I'm making money and that I know what my purpose is, I am standing here in front of you because of that, not because I'm an engineer. If I was an engineer, I would have been still working that 9 to 5, and maybe I would have been a senior engineer by now, but whatever it is, I wouldn't be here. The reason I'm here is because I've achieved something that was out of the norm. Nobody tells you to become a bodybuilder. Nobody will tell you that you can become an artist. Nobody will tell you to become a musician. Okay, people will always tell you to get study, which is good because I studied is why I had that job, which is why I had the money to do bodybuilding. If I didn't have that, I would have never been able to do it. So you need to realize that when you are asked to study, you should be doing it just for financial security. But if that doesn't drive you, you need to find your purpose in life. And that's how I'm going to close today's talk. So there are three words: passion, purpose, and profession. All your life, you're going to have to deal with these 3 words. So find your passion, make it your purpose, and that eventually will become a profession. Thank you.